Hello everybody, Mahkah Das Elumen here, founder, creator of Elumen Yoga. Wanted to make a short video on a topic that might be sensitive to some, exciting and creative and rich and expansive to others. So the topic is on Ashtanga and Iyengar yoga. For Elumen Yoga, the Elumen Yoga system is the combination of the Ashtanga yoga system with the Iyengar yoga system, taking specific elements of each system integrated into one system of practice. Look out for some other videos I've created on more details. But today I want to focus on why do this? Why not just leave the systems alone? Why combine them together to make a new system? And Ashtanga yoga and Iyengar yoga alone are magnificent, brilliant, extremely well created, arranged, defined, potent, healing systems of practicing yoga. I mean, how many yoga styles and practices come from these two systems, Ashtanga and Iyengar? They're wonderful. My personal practice is Ashtanga and Iyengar and Elumen Yoga, the combination of the two. But when I practice, I either want to go to an Ashtanga class or an Iyengar class, or a combo, or teach from other teachers that teach a combo hybrid of the both. You know, a lot of teachers do. A lot of teachers teach a hybrid of the both. They don't call it, so you know, they call it vinyasa flow, alignment vinyasa, mindful vinyasa. A lot of teachers like Sarah Struther, Noah Maze, Darren Rhodes, Christina Sell, Amy Apoliti, Christina Corso. They're teaching a hybrid of Ashtanga and Iyengar. They're in their own way. But what I'm doing here is, what I want to focus on in this video is that there is missing links. There are parts of the Ashtanga system and the Iyengar system that don't make them complete systems, in my opinion. So that's why I've created Elumen Yoga. So let's focus on the Ashtanga yoga system for a moment. Ashtanga yoga system focuses dominantly on the breath and of the doing of the practice. 99% practice, 1% theory, as Guruji would say. And it's about doing the practice, doing Mysore with an educated teacher who will then adjust you and correct you in the pose to learn how the pose is done for you, how to personally integrate the alignment of the pose by doing and doing and doing, getting adjustments, talking, getting cues, and so on and so on. But the practice traditionally is about doing it and kind of figuring it out as you go along. It's more like just do it, and not so much, well, how do I actually do this, right? And you know, that's what workshops are for, and trainings and all that stuff. I get that. But the day-to-day practice of Ashtanga yoga, the whole entire system as a whole, the whole 8 limbs are fantastic. I'm focusing on specifically the asana limb, the third limb, because that is the part that is most dominant in the states for the most part, right? So what's missing from this system, in my opinion, is the focus on how to do the poses properly to reap the full benefits of each pose. Customized to your body, your moment, your day. How do I actually do this pose? Mechanically, so what are my bones doing, muscles doing? What am I stretching? What am I not stretching? How do I do this pose because I have an injury? Don't get me wrong, teachers are focusing on this, but it's not the dominant focus of the class. There's this lack of alignment, of postural alignment. I went to, I go to classes and I observe and I look around and you see these teachers doing classical Ashtanga, like Utthita Trikonasana, go, breathe, 1, 2, and there's people like, and that I get that they're learning, but the teacher's not doing anything to adjust it. In the month, they'll come maybe and give a physical adjustment, but physical adjustments only go so far. So these topics I'm talking about are very tricky because it's such a fine line of what's happening. So what I'm saying is that there's a lack of alignment, there's a lack of pose focus. And because that's just how the system was created. Pattabhi Jois, the focus was on doing the practice, breathing properly in the practice, and completing the practice, and doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then seeing what happens because of the practice. And the biggest part that's missing, that I feel, is that how do you actually do the asanas properly? So that's Ashtanga Yoga. That's the biggest piece I feel is missing from the Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga system. And it's also an educational standpoint of educating Ashtanga yoga teachers on how to actually practice these poses. I think a lot of it has to do with that they're not necessarily, some teachers are not educated properly on how do you actually do this pose? Like, how do we do this pose safely? How do we use props? It's another thing. There's a lot of Ashtanga yoga practitioners and teachers kind of look down on props, or they don't use props because Guruji didn't use props, even though teachers like Mati Azredi, who's practiced with Guruji for a while, said she's seen Pattabhi Jois give someone a sock to bind in Marichasana C. She's seen him put someone on the wall for Shirshasana. She's seen him do these things that are kind of forbidden or looked down upon. Another element from the Ashtanga yoga system that I feel is lacking is that it doesn't seem like it's evolving at a pace that I think is needed for our culture and our society. So let's go back a little bit here. Ashtanga yoga was created by Pattabhi Jois from the teachings that he learned from Krishnamacharya, his teacher. And when Pattabhi Jois created the series based on Krishnamacharya's teachings, Pattabhi Jois created Ashtanga Yoga. Let's just focus on the primary series, Yoga Chikitsa. He created the system for Indian men, young Indian men, back in whatever year he created it. That same system that he created a while ago, specifically for Indian men, people who live in India, who are in a completely different climate and state and being that we are in, that same system is still being practiced today. There are teachers that do modify. I took a great class, Ashtanga yoga class, and she modified according to who was in the class. We only did 3 sun Bs instead of 5. She, did talk a little bit. It wasn't just all counting and breathing. So teachers are evolving, like modifying accordingly and teaching more of it, right? Instead of just figure it out, do it. I'm not going to talk Mysore style, which I love Mysore style, but teachers are more doing led practices. So the emphasis on, lost my train of thought. So much. What I'm trying to get at with this second point is that it's not the primary series has not changed much, if at all. Rightfully so, because it was created by Pattabhi Jois, who is a master of yoga, and it was designed very specifically for a very specific purpose. But most people that probably practice Ashtanga are Europeans and Americans, right? It's probably not so much of the Indian folk nowadays, I'm assuming. So wouldn't one think that the system would need to evolve and change to accommodate the people that are practicing yoga. And this then comes in with the vinyasa flow methods and the power of vinyasa. And like, there's other systems and practices that are based on Ashtanga yoga, and that's great. I'm just talking specifically to the Ashtanga yoga system and structure because it's the root. It's one of the main trunks of the tree. Like if there's a tree of yoga, one of the main branches is Ashtanga, the other one is Iyengar, and then from the Ashtanga main limb branch, there's power yoga, vinyasa yoga, this, and from Iyengar there was Anusara, and there's that, and there's that. So Ashtanga vinyasa yoga, I feel like nature, like humans, like life, like the universe, it needs to evolve and shift. And Guruji, Batabi Joyce, is no longer with us in body. Right? So you can't really go up to him and be like, hey, can we change this? There's Prashat, there's his children, but I don't know how much they're interested in evolving it or changing it, probably not. And I'm not saying it needs to change, but there are, to me personally, are elements that are missing from making it a completely balanced, holistic practice that can be practiced by everyone. The primary series is not a beginning or even that like a seasoned yoga practice. I've been practicing over 12 years and I still can't do half lotus or lotus. So am I supposed to just stop when we come to the standing pose where you do half lotus and fold? Because traditionally, from my understanding, you go to a pose you can't do, repeat that pose for a while, stop, go to the closing series, and then try again another day. If I did that, I think I would still be at that spot because for some reason, half lotus is not coming to me easily. I might not ever be able to do lotus. Some people just can't do poses. That's not good for them. Their body's not made for them. That's okay. Does that mean they shouldn't practice the entire primary series? See, it's things like this. The primary series is advanced. It's an advanced practice. Marichasana B and D are hard poses. Urdhva Dhanurasana, after a bunch of forward bends, is extremely intense. And then doing Paschimottanasana after 5 Urdhva Dhanurasanas is intense for a lot of people. It's not wrong, but it's intense. Doing Sarvangasana before Shirshasana, to me, doesn't quite make sense because you're doing a cooling, calming pose to the nervous system and then firing it back up with the Shirshasana. And I understand why he did it, but it, to me, doesn't fit in with the demographic, with the people that are, the majority of the people that are practicing Ashtanga yoga. It doesn't, there's these missing links, these parts that just kind of feel like they just need to be evolved. They just need to be tweaked a little bit. So that's Ashtanga yoga. I could go on and on and on and on about this, but I just want to hit these key points. So those are the parts that are missing, or that are kind of missing and I feel need to be evolved with Ashtanga yoga. I'll make more videos about this in the future. Let's move into Iyengar yoga. With Iyengar yoga, the dominant focus is on the poses when it comes to asana and the pranayama. How do we do it? What are the steps? What's the method? What's the reason? What are my bones doing? What's my pinky toe doing? What's my eyes doing? What's my head doing? It's a mechanical, alchemical structure of how to do every single pose. There is a specific, detailed to the T formula of how to do every single asana and pranayama exercise, according to BKS Iyengar, because they spent his life figuring that out. So their focus is dominantly on how. For Ashtanga, it's more just about doing. This is more about doing, but more on how to do it. For Ashtanga, is more like do it, and you'll figure it out along the way from A, B, and C. So in Iyengar yoga, the main focus is also on like how do we get as many people as we possibly can to do these poses to reap the full benefits of the pose. Doing props, putting someone on a chair, putting someone on this does that, this does this. Maybe this person is feeling this way after this pose. What do we do? Poses are used more as like prescriptions, as like, I have this going on, what poses should I do? I feel this way, what poses should I do? In both systems, poses are used in medicine, but there's just a much more detailed way of doing it. I love the analogy Mati Azreti gives on Patabi Joyce and Iyengar Yoga. It's like I'm an art teacher, I'm a painter, and I have one teacher who's really good at form, and another teacher that's really good at color. And I go to this teacher who's really good at the form of drawing, and this teacher I go to learn more about the color. And they're both amazing teachers, and they both have their interests. No right or wrong, but they have their own separate interests and masteries. I love that analogy. It's like Patabi Joyce is more about do it, just do the practice, and you'll figure it out as you go. The benefits are going to be great. All is coming. All is coming, right? And Iyengar is like, do the practice, but let me tell you specifically, exactly why, how, when, for how long, what's going to maybe happen, what might not happen, and what to do if any of that happens, and what if it doesn't work, what to do, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So the parts that are missing from the Iyengar Yoga system, personally to me, from what I've experienced, is the lack on the focus of the breath in the postures. I watched this Manos video when he was teaching in Russia, and I don't think one time, it was like a 3-hour video, and I don't think one time I heard him say anything about the breath in a pose. I think maybe once he said breathe, but it was all just the pose and the mechanics of the pose, the benefits of the pose, but not much focus on the breath. Reminders even simple reminders to breathe, how to breathe. So there's not much focus on breath in the posture. And also in Iyengar Yoga, there isn't a lot of focus on, how do I put this? Finding that moving meditation, the linking of the postures, like the vinyasa of the external vinyasa, because there's the internal vinyasa of the alignment and the breath, but the actual linking of the postures, there's something really magical about that when you are in proper alignment and you're linking the poses like golden beads on a thread in a mala. The poses are linking and you're moving with the breath. Personally, I love that. I also love holding poses for a long time, like in Iyengar. So, but they don't really teach the external vinyasa in Iyengar Yoga, and that's fine, and that's just part of their system. Iyengar Yoga has evolved a lot. I hear stories from senior teachers that practice with Iyengar that he would, till the day he left this body, he would come into class and be like, I found this interesting thing in Trikonasana, let's try it. And then people would be like, whoa, Guruji, you've been teaching it like this though for the past 2 years. He's like, well, let's try it like this and see what happens. He was constantly evolving, right? Constantly changing in way he would offer poses and do poses. And so it was, Iyengar Yoga was evolving with time. It evolved with people. Like, he came to America the first couple times to show yoga, or Australia or Europe or wherever it was, and he noticed, whoa, a lot of these people can't do these poses, right? They're in whack alignment. How do I get people to do yoga? Oh, props. I'm gonna give them a block. Give them a chair, give them a strap, right? It was constantly evolving. Where in Ashtanga Yoga, it's kind of static. It doesn't seem like it's evolving with the people and with the times. So there's a lot more in the Ashtanga Yoga system that I feel can be evolved. And a few more things with Iyengar. He doesn't talk about, there's not a lot of talk about bandha, dristi, mudra, the linking of the prana and the apana, all these things that are dominant in the Ashtanga yoga system. Again, that relates though to the breath. So there's breath and there's dristi, bandha, mudra, the focus of the Sushumna nadi. In pranayama, in Iyengar yoga, they do talk, of course, about the bandhas, but it's not mentioned much in Iyengar yoga classes in asana practice. So the breath and all that attached to breath is something that is lacking, missing in my opinion, in the Iyengar yoga system. So I just want to be very clear here. I'm at 20 minutes, but there's nothing wrong with any of these systems. They are complete as they are, as far as you could practice the primary series for the rest of your life, and you will most likely reap the benefits of yoga and feel good and gain what you're looking for. You can practice Iyengar yoga for the rest of your life and be happy and have a wonderful practice and experience with yoga. I'm not finding faults. I'm not dissing or downsizing or degrading any of these systems. I have pure respect for Pattabhi Jois and BKS Iyengar and these two systems. What I'm doing personally is the fact that Pattabhi Jois and BKS Iyengar are currently not in their bodies right now, that they have left their bodies, from my understanding, we have more access to them, all of us, than ever before, because they're everywhere. They are now in the soup of God, and we are able to connect with them on deep forms, through meditation, through journaling. We could have conversations with them because they are still, part of their soul is still interested in what they were interested in when they were alive, and that's yoga. So wouldn't you think that they'd still be hanging around in the yoga classes and with the teachers and with people like us who are interested in the topic? So personally for me, I feel that I, as well as anyone who's teaching from these lineages, are continuing the work of Gurujis, of Pattabhi Jois and BKS Iyengar. We are continuing the work, and what I want to do is evolve the practices and combine them into a single system because they complement each other so much. They are like the parts that are missing from Ashtanga yoga, Iyengar yoga has. The parts that are missing from Iyengar yoga, Ashtanga yoga has. Why not blend them together? And don't get me wrong, people have done this, but not like this. Not like Elumen Yoga here. The parts that are missing from Ashtanga and Iyengar, each system has. I'm just marrying the two. So that's my little rant. This has been on my mind for a while. And I know I'm kind of like putting a stick in the Ashtanga and the Iyengar pot, and I'm like stirring it up, and this might offend some people. Again, I am not dissing or downgrading or disrespectful to anyone's system or chosen path of practice. I have nothing but respect for all teachers and students who are going deep with these individual practices. Keep going. Whatever works for you. God bless you. I personally want to help assist in creating a more balanced system of yoga where these two systems are now being complementary, are forming into one, to keep evolving, because nature, the universe, you, me, everything is constantly evolving and changing with the times, with the people, with the needs, with life. And that is part of my life's work. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your time and your interest in Elumen Yoga. If you're in Portland, I'm teaching Elumen Yoga at Burning Spirits Yoga and Yoga Pearl. Find me on Instagram and Facebook, Elumen Yoga, to get the times and the days of those offerings. And I am currently looking to teach at some more studios. I am currently looking to also find a studio of my own to run with someone, or a space to help to run a studio with and create a yoga studio that's going to have so much more but just yoga. I'm looking for that in Portland. If you know of anyone interested in that, send them my way. elumenyoga@gmail.com. I'm available for privates and for more public yoga classes. Thank you so much. Practice, practice, practice. Whatever you choose to practice. Thank you so much. Light and love. Namaste.